Hey guys, this is Greg with Medical Muscle. I thought I'd make a video about the interview process because I just got out of an interview. And I think I've had some experience with this so far, and I can kind of give you guys some tips that I've learned and can kind of share with you guys. So definitely before interview season, I think it's really important for you to be ready to answer standardized questions. Practice them, know what they are, so that there's no curveballs when you get asked them in the interview. You want to be very smooth. One way you can do this, and I totally suggest this, the Match Guy, he's on YouTube, he's a YouTuber. He's got a list of 200 of the most common types of questions that you could be asked. I'm gonna link that below. I think it's very helpful. Also below, please like and subscribe this video if you can. But I think it's good to just go through that list or any list and just be ready to answer any of them. Know what your answer is going to be. I think that takes practice. One thing I did a lot of between, right after finishing step 2 and my first interview was practicing out loud what I wanted to say with the most common types of questions. I think that's crucial. So this might sound a little weird, but anytime I was driving any distance, I would just practice out loud what I was gonna say. Like, why I wanted to go into this specific specialty, why I want to go into this specific program. You should have those all verbalized. I think it's really powerful to hear yourself talk about that. You can do it on camera too, which is very helpful. You can see how your face looks when you're answering these questions. I have a friend who is also going into the same specialty as I, and I was able to kind of tell him what I would say. He would tell me what he was going to say with the same type of question, and we kind of discuss and critique each other, and he gave me some great advice, and vice versa. So I think that's pretty huge, is just practice with it. It takes like a month or two to practice it and get it really honed down. The first round of saying why you want to go into a specialty might not be as potent as your last version, okay? So that's really important. So let's talk about the most common questions that you will be asked. And this is what I've been asked in the interview. I'm going to go more about what I said specifically. But most common questions that I've got so far are, tell me about yourself. Why this program? Why this specialty? I think why this program can be it's probably one of the most important questions they will ask you, because it's going to be, your answer should be very tailored to them. Okay, the other two, like, tell me about yourself and tell us why you want to go into whatever specialty, can be generic, right? That's across the board. If you're smart, you can tailor all those to their specific program. All right. But you want to answer why you want to be in this program from the mindset that you're actually going to live in that city. There are restaurants that you've already looked up. You already know what the street view looks like around the hospital, where you would live, what the cost of rent is in that area. What kind of fun activities there are around that area. Is there natural stuff? Is it an urban environment? Think about what you would, first off, why you would like to live in that area. Okay. Then why you would want to be in that hospital specifically. What is something that makes them stand out that you're really attracted to? And it should be something from your heart, because it comes off more genuine that way. Something that you're really interested in. And then maybe it's location, maybe you have friends, maybe you have family, all those things. Make sure to mention that. Very important. Some of the harder, other questions I've got is, when did you work in a team and what was your role? When did you work with a difficult patient? What are some of the challenges that you will have transitioning to residency? It's basically a weakness question. I was prepared to give strength questions. I haven't been asked that yet. It's mostly just your weaknesses. They want to know. And you have to have some good stuff. And I'll tell you guys what I say in another video. Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? So those are some of the type of questions. But You're almost always going to get why this specialty, why this program, and tell me about yourself. Those for sure, you should have those nailed down. And then through a huge list, you can practice with some of the oddballs. I've had some really oddball ones that really threw me through a loop. All right, so I think it's really important to take advantage of any resident meetings that happen prior to the interview. They're gonna give you basically like secret advice that can help you like crazy during the interview. I had one where the residents actually had mentioned some of the weird types of questions that this one attending liked to ask. And sure enough, she asked it and I was ready for it. Okay, so it's very important to go to those kind of meetings. It allows you to kind of get more information about a program that you could not get from their website. All right, so you can ask more specific questions, more directed questions. I think the interviewers really like when you ask very specific, nuanced questions that show that you really are interested and you've put the effort into looking for specific things. And the only way you can do that is by researching the program, reading everything they have online, any social media stuff like YouTube or Instagram that they have, and then going to these resident meetings. But if they don't, obviously, you just do the best you can. Try to look up as much as you can, look up all the attendings, see what specialties that they've gone into, and tailor your questions to their strengths. Say, because they're the expert in this one thing of this program, ask them, very specific questions. Like if it's a research question and one of the attendings is big on research, ask those types of questions. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, definitely make a long list of questions. I'm gonna go through another video of what you should ask. I think there's some really good ones. I think there's a lot of ones you shouldn't ask. Now, for the day of the interview, I always get very hydrated. I have my coffee. If it's later in the afternoon, if it's like a later interview, I'll do a workout before to work out those jitters. And I always have my notepad here. I always carry a notepad because during the introduction, sometimes the residents will come out and talk, and that's when you can get some of this secret information, right? Things that are very specific that you couldn't get from the website. And I think it's really powerful if you can ask that stuff on the fly, because it's like you're paying attention, during their spiel, and, it may help you in the interview. Okay. So definitely do that. I always try to get onto the link, if it's on Zoom, 10 minutes before it starts. And I think it's very important to get on early. You don't have to get on 15 or 20 minutes early. That's ridiculous. But 10 minutes early is ideal, because if their program coordinator, or what I've experienced one time was the director was sitting on the call. We were the only two on there. And you get to have like this light little conversation, I think, which gives you potentially some advantage. It also kind of allows you to warm up to the interview, because it kind of works some jitters out before you get into the real thing. Especially if it's like residents, it's nice to break the ice that way. If there's other students on the call, definitely start talking. I think it's good that you guys are communicating with each other, keep the conversation light, and then if the attending pops in, they see that you have good interpersonal skills. That'll help you tremendously. So yeah, I have my caffeine. I make sure that I'm caffeinated. That's up to you. You don't want to be nervous. You don't want to be jittery. You don't want to come off as too energetic, but you want to be awake. You want to be ready to last the whole day, sometimes 3-4 hours. Okay. I think it's important to also get a good breakfast in, so you have the energy to last the full day. Okay, that's another big thing. Make sure to smile. Smile as much as you can. You should be smiling anytime. Keep a positive face. You don't want to be like this on a Zoom call. They're talking about introductions. You're like this in the corner. Don't be that person. These people are, when they're giving these introductions, they're peeking over at the camera. They can see. And if you're there like going like this and you're actively listening, it really makes you look good. Okay. All Always smile, always smile. And I think before every interview, I think this was just a really good thing. It's very polite, and I always do this. They'll start off, they'll introduce themselves. I always try to acknowledge them by their name. I say thank you. Before I start, thank you so much for taking your time out of the day to do this interview with me. I always do that because it's time consuming. A lot of these residency programs are interviewing tons of people every day, and they still have to do their job. They're trying to take calls between these interviews. So, you've got to respect their time too. Now, with giving questions or giving answers to questions, you want to be succinct. I think that's really important. It's easy to ramble. Just know that, some of these attendings, they've been through a lot of these interviews and it can get very monotonous. So it's important for you to make some big impacts with just the fewest words possible. And then it allows them to ask more questions during the interview. You want to be very succinct. And then make sure you have a nice list of questions that are directed specifically for that person. All right, guys. I hope that was informative. I'm going to make another video talking about the questions that I think are good, very powerful to ask, and the types of questions and how I answered them. Okay? So if you guys haven't, please like and subscribe to this video, and stay tuned for more awesome content.